guys, and welcome to another incredible series of For the Love of Rescue, powered by none other than
Woodrock Animal Rescue.
very proudly said every single week. We absolutely love and are so immensely proud of Woodrock Animal Rescue. Stella, what are we going to talk about today?
You know, I'm very, I would like the public to know about our adoption process. Our adoption process goes way beyond just walking in, identifying a dog you like, and walking out. And people tend to get quite disappointed, and they arrive with children, which is like setting yourself up for failure. They arrive with their children and they think they can take home a dog right on that day. So lots happens in our adoption process. To start off, you're going through social media, or not even social media, you come along to the farm and you see a dog that you really want. You've got special needs, you want a dog that sleeps indoors, you've got a dog that can go on park runs for you, or you'd like a puppy, your children are between 10 and 12, they've never had any dogs, and you've got certain criteria. Great.
So I'd like to actually just go there. I'd like to start off there. And I know it's like just before the adoption process, you know, everyone comes in and they've got this idea in their head. Oh, I want this dog with this gorgeous flowing goldy locks and all these amazing ideas, and I wanted to be able to, as you said, to go for a run with me, and I want a dog to play ball. I'll never forget, my mother always wanted a dog who would play ball with her, and she's never had a dog that can play ball with her until now. And let me tell you something, she hates playing ball with this dog. So the expectation versus the reality can be very, very different. And I think what's more important than the look of an animal, you know, we're always judging a book by its cover, is actually to know the personality of that particular animal, and does it actually fit your family and your family's lifestyle? Don't you think that's the most important?
Absolutely,
Stella?
because a lot of people, and I can understand the sentiment, a lot of people will have had a golden retriever, and the golden retriever was so perfect in every way for their needs, and they arrive here and they want a duplicate of Jimmy. It doesn't work like that. Please, when you do adopt a dog, keep an open mind. So come along to Woodrock Animal Rescue and see a dog that ticks a box, but not, you can't clone a dog. It might be a smaller dog, it might be a bigger dog. Keep an open mind is what I always say.
And I think the other thing as well, Stella, from my perspective, is we've been doing this for long. And our adoption team and our behavior team, everybody, you know, we're a big team, as I keep using the word team. Everybody talks to each other and everybody understands those dogs. We understand their personalities, we understand their likes and their dislikes and their needs and their capabilities, and sometimes lack thereof. So you might, when I say lack thereof, you might want a runner and you might get a dog that actually isn't the right runner for you, and that's okay. You might be able to say, hold on a second, I'm so in love with his personality, I'm so in love with this animal, so I'll still go running alone. So trust our team to also help guide you. So don't just be so adamant in your thought process of your look and your idea that you've kind of made up in your head. Also just remember that our guys want the best for your family. We want your family to have a happy home, and in order for your family to have a happy home, we want our animal to have a forever family and forever home, and so we want to be able to marry them together in the right way. But I think it's enough of that, because I think everybody gets the idea.
Okay, so let's look at the process. You come along, you're all excited, and you'd like to choose one of the dogs. A consultant will meet you up at the gate and welcome you into the shelter and ask what's your needs. You sit down, you go through the reveal board where you'll see all the dogs that are up for adoption, and you identify 3 of the dogs that you like. From there, Jax.
Well, from there, I think part of that process as well is also saying, you know, do you have a cat? And do you have cats that are dogs that are cat friendly and that kind of thing as well? And do you have a parrot, or do you have a bird, or do you have a chicken? I mean, there are lots of people these days actually.
That's the consult. So
Yeah.
the consultant has to be very. First of all, I always say to the consultants, listen, because, and that's something I have a challenge with, but nevertheless, listen to what they're asking for and then guide them accordingly.
Absolutely. So they'll come in, they'll have a look at the board, which is a great way and a great guidance of what you see. Remember, those photos are amazing. There's lots of treats are built on with lots of big smiles in the photos. So
Also deceiving. A dog can look enormous in the picture, and the prospective family will say, "Oh no, Martin is way too big." Meantime, Martin's the size of a beagle.
absolutely, and we do have a Martin that is actually the size of a beagle, FYI. But anyway, so then Once you've got that, you'll sit with a consultant, and thereafter you'll discuss what your home is like, what your family is like, what your activities are like. Do you have kids that are at school? Do you work all day? Do you have a domestic? Is the domestic used to having animals? Do you have cats? Do you have hamsters? All that kind of thing. And I think it's very important to be open-minded and to be open in discussing everything.
Because that will stop us all, including the dog, from being set up for failure.
Absolutely, and as I said, we want a happy home for you and for the animal. It's also really important when you're doing those kind of things, just to make sure that you know that you're honest with us, because sometimes, I mean, as you said, listen, and Stella and I aren't the best as that we like to give advice, but someone will come in and they'll say, that they had a dog, they had a bulbul, and then little Jimmy will say, yes, but we don't have him anymore, and then you're trying to ask questions. Well, what happened to him? So we'd like to understand the full story of your experience. Do you have experience with animals? Don't you have experience with animals? And let me tell you something, you don't have to be shy or nervous or feel judged with any of the things that you want to talk about, because we want to offer you, as we keep saying, the best animal that fits into your environment and your home, so that it's a real happy marriage and they're your baby for the rest of your life and their life.
Well, the rest of their lives, because sadly all dogs we outlive them. From there, what happens is we'll call on one of the kennel the kennel staff, and they know the dogs intimately, and they will bring the dog through to the tickle and touch area. We call it tickle and touch, which is a greet and meet area.
It's a really important thing, because there are two parts to it. If you do have an animal, you've got a dog. Obviously, it's hard to bring a cat for a meet and greet, but if you've got a dog, bring them through as well. So in this tickle and touch area, we can also integrate the animals together and see, does it work for them? Do they get on with each other? Are they the right combination? Do they have the right energy level, etc.?
Such an essential part of the rescue rehoming is that your dog is comfortable and in essence chooses his playmate.
Absolutely. And what you might or I might expect for a playmate for my dog might not necessarily be the right playmate. So you might have a dog that's very energetic, and you might say, listen, I want a dog that's exceptionally energetic, but then we might pair you up with a dog that's slightly calmer, which will calm down the whole situation. So trust us, trust the process, trust our kennel handlers, because they really know their dogs very intimately, and obviously trust your dog that their engagement is happening on the right level. So once that's actually happened, and once we've actually gotten through that process and they've done a meet and greet with the people and with the animals, it's also important that the family are part of that process as well, because you want your dog not to feel like they're being replaced. You want them to feel like we're just adding extra and additional family members to them, which is going to just be a great value add towards them.
Okay, so now once you there's a couple of boxes that have been ticked. We adore this dog. This is the perfect dog, the perfect size, and your dog Joey thinks this is Christmas has come early, and this is just amazing. So now I want the dog. Correct? You want to take the dog?
I want the dog.
I want the dog. So now you go up to the admin block yet again, and you'd fill in all the paperwork. And as Jack said earlier, please be as brutally honest with us. What are your hours at work? Are you expecting the dog to be a guard dog? Is your pool an open swimming pool?
Where will the dog sleep?
Where will the dog sleep? Do you walk your dogs? We don't expect these enormous walks every 2 hours of the day. Who feeds your dog? Where will the dog eat? That's very important. Where are the water bowls? What quality of food do you feed them? And remember, we're not judging you. We don't imagine that you're going to rush out and buy the best quality of food. We are not here to judge you. We are here to make it work for the dog and for you.
Absolutely. So you go through all the nitty-gritty, you complete your application. Remember, it is a legal document, so whoever's name is being completed on the application, at the end of the day, that animal actually belongs to them. And it's so important, because we have been faced with situations where people are dating.
Yes,
and
can I just correct you?
Yes.
So the dog essentially is adopted by the clients, but Woodrock will always hold themselves accountable. Should the dog be lost, we will be then the person to be responded, the SPCA or the vets, if they get to see the microchip, they will call on us and we will go and collect the dog. The dog is always registered to Woodrock. Another thing I want you to bear in mind, should you move, you also have to notify Woodrock. And if you do not notify Woodrock and we find out that the dog has been relocated to a family member, we don't mind as long as we are notified and we're given the opportunity to redo the home inspection.
Absolutely. Remember, everything that we're doing is in the best interest of the animal and of you. But back to what I said, whoever is completing the application,
Yes.
it's the dog is registered in their name. Although Woodrock Animal Rescue will always be entitled to protect that animal because we are the voice of the voiceless, whoever's name it's in, it's important to know if it's a dating couple, which I often say, things happen, people break up. What's going to happen to that animal? Is it going to belong to the person that's completed the document, or is it going to go to the partner? It's important to think about these things when you are doing the application. Anyway, application is done.
Right.
You've written out all, you've been authentic, you've said where the dog's going to sleep, if you go on holiday, who's looking after everything. Everything's done and dusted. And now it's handed over to Woodrock Animal Rescue. And what happens there, Stella?
So on a Monday morning, the team will sit and go through the applications in depth. And believe you me, the team is not just one person. There's a team of at least 6 to 7 people. We call it the board. It's the adoption board. And they'll look at the form, and one person will say, I don't like that application. Another person will say, you know what, these people have had a dog before and they've got a good recommendation. And another person will say, I think it's a fantastic opportunity. And then we'll say, okay, well, it's an iffy application, maybe. Let's start off with a home inspection. Jack?
So, when we're going through these applications, as Stella said, it can be quite heated because at the end of the day, we focused on that animal. We want to make sure that it's the right environment for the animal. And everybody's got a different thing that they focus on. And of course, the consultant, whoever's actually dealt with that application, has created some kind of relationship with the people as well. So they really want to kind of fight for that family, if they've seen that it's the right family for them. So we've ticked all the boxes, we're now happy, and we now proceed with a home check. And it's so important. So guys, I want to tell you something. Woodrock Animal Rescue, we depend really very much on our home checkers, who are all volunteers. They're all doing this in their own time, using their own petrol, and they really are dedicated to the cause, and they themselves have got an online application to complete, and photos to send through, and everything else. So we need to make sure that when you are coming, if you're coming to Woodrock Animal Rescue and you are very far and we can't get a home checker, we need to just explain to you in those cases that whether we do have a home check in that area or not. So it is something that we do need to be practical in our thought. So a home checker is appointed, and the home checkers are given certain details and information on the dog, because every home is going to have different requirements based on what the dog is. So if you've got a tiny Yorkie puppy, you're going to have certain requirements, and if you're going to have a large breed pit bull, obviously there are going to be different requirements for that particular home.
So now the home checker has come back to our main home checker administrator and said, I don't feel comfortable with the dog going to this home. There are 3 things that I'd like to be improved: X, Y, and Z. So now, this is the quite amusing part. We always, unless it's an out and out no, wrong area, security dogs, that's not a safe area, you've given your dogs up before,
Open pool.
Open swimming pool, and unless it's an out and out no. But in 70% of the cases, we always report back to the owner, always, in writing and verbally, as to how they can improve their home to be beneficial to that particular dog.
Absolutely, and I think that it's a very important part for us. So we go back to the client and we'll say to them, right, the pool isn't covered. Would you be willing to cover the pool?
Or your dog isn't sterilized. Could you please go and sterilize? Yes. We don't give dogs out. But we tell them right from inception on paper, your dog is not sterilized. We will not allow you to adopt unless your dogs are sterilized, because that is part of our protocol.
Absolutely, and we give you an opportunity to remedy it or correct it, and then the ball is then in your in your court, and you can decide whether you'd like to proceed or whether you aren't able to or not wanting to proceed. And this part really upsets me, because we go out to our clients, and it's a very we're creating relationships with these people, intense relationships, and we're discussing it with them directly, and their very reasons, we are the voice of the voices. We are that animal's last voice until the day that they die. And when we're putting them in a home that isn't Woodrock Animal Rescue, we need to trust that that animal is going to be loved and looked after the way that we would and the way that we do in our environment. So when people go to social and say, oh, I was rejected by Woodrock, I think that it's really the public's responsibility to ask, Well, there must have been a real reason why. Woodrock have been around for over 40 years. You know, our interest has always been based on the animals' needs and to make sure that they are safe and protected and have a voice. And I think that, you
And
know,
it's a proper home.
it's a proper home, and it's not just this facade. And I think that it's really important for the people and the audience out there to understand that Woodrock are so pro-life. We have long life animals here that will live with us forever. We're not a sanctuary for dogs and for cats. We're a sanctuary, yes, for our farm animals, but those dogs, we ultimately want to get them into homes. But some of them, if they're not able to go into a home, etc., they will live with us until the day that they die, and we're okay with that. So if we are approaching a home and saying to them, can you correct this? Will you be willing to correct that with the family? And they get rejected and go to social media. I think that the question that you guys need to ask out there is why. Like, what did you, as the applicant, actually, like, where did it go from there? So it's important for me, a discussion for me to actually say to our audience, you know, don't be quick to jump on the bandwagon and just have a comment.
Oh, it's a disgrace. I take this one step further, is that it's what we regard as keyboard warriors. Have these people commenting as to why we rejected the home, have they actually taken the time to find out the real reasons why the home was rejected? And secondly, these keyboard warriors need to know, would they put their dog into a home that we have rejected? So those are just skimming the surface of rejection.
But I think, sorry, I'm just interjecting there. But you know, and I've got a smirk on my face as you said it. One of our questions on the home check report is, would you put your dog in that home? And it's so important, because if you're not prepared to put your own animal into that home, why should we put one of our Woodrock animals into that home?
That have been so nurtured and come from disadvantaged background, and they've been like really, like, to call them rehabilitated is wrong, but we've learned to give them the right home. So we find their personality, we find their X factor, and we choose the family for them.
Absolutely. So now everything is done. You have a home in a million. We are so excited and so proud to put little Bobby into your home and be part of your family. The excitement is on another level, and so you come through with your baby, your other fur baby, you've got one. If you do, they do another meet and greet, and you guys go home, and we're very excited about that process.
And you pay over the adoption fee. So the one thing that Kate from media wants us to tell you, there's a very important part of rescue, that you get home and poor Joey is so overwhelmed. The house is so different to what he was used to at Woodrock Animal Rescue. He's come from disadvantaged, probably one of the local township areas, and this is an overworld. The TV noise, the opening of the fridge, the front door, the children. So there's so much that little Bobby has to contend with. So
Well, there are many examples. I mean, that's one. But you know, you could have a dog that actually, I mean, a woman passed away and she left 7 dogs, and now this dog is going into a new home environment where there's an existing dog. So obviously, the whole interaction between everyone
dynamic changes.
absolutely. I mean, if you have a baby and you bring home the second baby, I've seen many a clip where the first child is slapping the baby across the face, like, you know, you're not welcome here. So there is a period, you know, an interactive period where you need to just allow the dogs to interact. I just want to tell you that every dog from Woodrock Animal Rescue, when they leave, they are sterilized, they are fully vaccinated, they are dewormed, and they are microchipped. And we are very transparent with the animal. Anything that we know, any information we know, we do tell you guys. So that's an important thing from that aspect. But so now they go home and they're in their home. My advice to people, and I'm sure yours is quite similar to mine, is leave them be. Don't give one dog extra attention than the other dog. Just let them learn to find what works for them and how their relationship is going to work. It can't be based on what our expectation of their relationship. It's based on how they want to interact with each other.
How many times we haven't had like an afternoon call? The dog's gone home in the morning, we get an afternoon call. Oh my gosh, Bobby's just not coping. He's anxious, he's panting. Give him space. Give him the day. So what do we call it? 3 days,
3 weeks
3 weeks,
and 3 months.
and 3 months. And you've got the perfect dog.
Absolutely, it can take from anywhere from 3 days to 3 months for a dog to actually understand and say, hold on a second, this is my house, this is my home, this is my family, and this is my sibling. So be patient. We are always here if you need us to chat to you about anything or guide you.
Many times our behaviorist James has gone out and had a chat, and you know what he comes back with? He always says, Actually, it's the owners, the mummies and the daddies, who are at fault.
And also, you know, the kids, I know the kids are excited and it's their face in their face, but it's very overwhelming. I don't want anyone's face in my face either. So, guys, when you come to adopt from Woodrock Animal Rescue, I hope that you understand a little bit more about our adoption process. We do continue following up and we want to check in and we want those beautiful photos of little Bobby. Bobby's the name of the day today. And just remember to give them the time that, you know, they need in order to settle.
Thank you very, very much for understanding. Our adoption process is very much similar, as we hope, to all other shelters. We do understand the needs of our dogs, we understand their personalities, and we are all about happily home.
Absolutely. If you guys want to ask any further questions, if you'd like to adopt a dog, please reach out to us at adoptions@woodrockanimalrescue.co.za. From me, Jax Martheze,
And me, Stella Meldau.
signing out from For a Love of Rescue.